Hello, you all. How are you doing? I'm just really having a check-in because I don't know about you, but these days have been riding some waves. Hey, I found that what was it, Halloween Day? Whew, I felt the squeeze. I felt like humanity was just imploding. And that evening, I had a moment where I just I met that level of just fed upness. I had the most mundane thing trigger me of like not finding parking when I came home after trick-or-treating with my daughter. And it was just like, when you get triggered and you lose your shit, it's because it's the accumulation of things and you just can't take it. It's the straw that broke the camel's back. And I had like all of this anger and rage and just this, the fed upness and like, what the is going on here? Like, what is actually even my purpose of existing? Why I was actually pissed off at my soul. I was like, why did we come here? Why? What purpose is there? I always felt very purpose driven from when I was very young, and I just don't feel like I've put even like maybe a tiny dent. And so I'm like, well, what's the point? What's the point of being here? So it was like a real kind of existential moment. And again, I feel grateful to my capacity to just like let it, to just allow it, to just let it move through me. And I'm a passionate person, and I feel things. And so it's like, I let it, move through me. And I guess it was also kind of reflecting the storms that have been coming around and through, and just the general chaos of the world. Luckily, when I woke up on Friday, I felt like a lightness of being, and I still feel a lightness of being now. And I'm so grateful. I mean, this is just riding the waves, right? It's the ebb and flow. And I've been speaking to several friends about how just it feels like two things. One, it feels like a never-ending transition, and two, it feels unrelenting at times. Like the shift that we're going through as a collective, and the planetary shifts, and now the physicality of that coming through, and of course there's the emotional and the psychological and the spiritual and the energetic and all of these things. But it's just for the last nearly 5 years just been like boom, 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 boom. It really is unrelenting. And I found myself in moments of just like, I don't know if I have the stamina to do this anymore. And just the exhaustion, the fatigue. And I think that's a part of it as well. I think we're undergoing so much, and so much that we can't even really describe, because it's happening on a much larger, vaster level than just us, as like me, Corinne, and you, whoever's watching this. So I just wanted to say like, hey, how are you? How are you doing? Because if you're riding the waves as well, and you're feeling the intensity, but then you're also feeling the lightness, you're feeling the expansion and the contraction, and the expansion and contraction, you're so not alone. You're so not alone. And it can make you feel a bit bonkers, right? Because it's just nothing in this realm right now is very steady. And I remember talking about this with friends like, God, probably well over a decade ago, about just like, when is the whole system going to crumble? When is the whole thing just going to come down? And it needs to happen. And then you're like, fast forward, you're in it. You're in it. You're like, oh, okay, shit. We kind of have this idealization or glorification, or the end result is good, right? Like where we're moving to is good, but transition kind of always sucks, because it's the turmoil, it's the excavation, it's the shedding and letting go of, it's the crumbling, it's the loss of an identity, it's the loss of a reality as we once knew it. It's so many things. And I think, how do we move through these times? It's like, what is the center still point? And what came through to me very strongly yesterday was like, now more than ever, I know it's been a theme over the last almost 5 years, is like sovereignty. And what is sovereignty? To me, sovereignty is the I am, not the egoic I am, but it's the I am of the essence of who I am. my soul, my higher self, that which is connected to everything and everyone, that is energy and consciousness and love and existence itself, right? That sovereign being that is I am, that is infinite and eternal and immortal and cannot be killed off, right? Because it's not just about like freedoms and rights and all of these things. It's actually, how do you traverse chaos? You have to be the eye. You have to be the eye of the storm rather than being wrapped around in the whirlwind and the tornado and the hurricane and the quake of it all, right? And for me, the eye of the storm, that stillness, is I have to come back home to myself. I have to come back to who I am. And the thing is that you might have the internal storm like I had the other night, where I was just like, this, like I was so fed up. I'm like, done. I'm done of doing this alone. I'm done of, not having a home and not having, you can go into the whole thing, right? And sometimes you got to let that inner storm pass through you. Like yesterday where I live, we had just, dark clouds and thunder and rain. And now it's like beautiful, gorgeous day. And it's like, yeah, there you go. That's like the human experience. That's the earthly realm experience. Is it ebbs and flows, and one is neither good and nor bad, but just how do we surrender and allow and accept and soften into whatever it is, so that we're not in resistance to it or to ourselves. So I'm riding the waves, friends. I don't know about you. I'd love to know. It's definitely a time to learn how to surf. Kind of want to actually learn how to surf. That would be pretty cool, because it's such a beautiful metaphor. Sorry, it's so loud outside of my house. But I think that's what we're just under such a massive test to really, truly, recognize what's home. And home has to be inside of us, because your external home can go like that, right? And home is your community and the people that you're connected to. Home is meaning. Home is heart. And I really pray in these times, and I know that shit's going to come up in the States. Can we please graduate beyond division and actually really recognize and awaken to the fact that nothing is going to change until we actually care about one another. And until we come together in collaboration. This whole taking sides and this whole who's going to be the savior, no one's going to be the savior. We are the savior, but it can only happen through collaboration and harmony and peace and respect, mutual respect. We can agree to disagree, but mutual respect and care, like genuine care for one another, care for the planet, care for everything, heart. Like, we can't care if we're not in our hearts. If we're stuck in our mind, it's really easy to rationalize and become righteous and get into the duality and the polarization of everything. Heart only knows love, really. And when it's not in love and it's in hate, it hurts. So I think this is also a time of becoming really sensitive. And that's a really good thing, because then you feel it and you can go against the genuine feeling, but you're going to hurt for it. So I don't know. I just want to wrap you all in a hug and say I love you, and remind you that don't forget the uniqueness of who you are. Don't forget the incredibly powerful being that you are, that you've simply forgotten because they've done a really good job at making us forget. And part of sovereignty is remember who you authentically are, who you truly are, the essence of who you are, the being that you are, which is pretty bloody extraordinary. So if you need that reminder, there you go. And we're in it together. Yeah. Can we do it together? Wouldn't that be nice? So anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox. As always, take it or leave it as feels right for you, and loving you from afar. Bye.